And I just visioned, my friend said to me, if you died, your tombstone would read, died on the set of Playboy. And all your friends would have said, yep, I can believe that. So years ago, I took a job with MagnaFlow Performance Exhaust, and we were preparing to do a SEMA video, and we started getting quotes from people, and the quotes were coming in at $15,000. And I said to myself, that is absurd. I'm going to learn how to do video. How hard could it be? Turns out it's pretty hard. So I buy all the editing software and all that kind of stuff, and I start doing these little, car stuff, things, putting cameras on the side of my car like everybody else did. This is before GoPros were big. We were using contours and all that kind of stuff. Well, somehow I got connected with Matt Farah, Garage 419, and Emil Rensing. Emil Rensing was over at Next New Networks, which is the group that ran Garage 419, Fast Lane Daily, and a whole bunch of other shows. So I flew out there, met with Emil and Matt Farah, and I think it was Zach Clapman. Although these names are still, everybody knows these people if you've been doing this for a while. So he said, why don't you do a car show out in California? You got access to great roads and all that kind of stuff. Do something. What would you think you would like to do? I said, well, how about pretty girls driving exotic cars or high-end cars? Because that sounds good. What's the hook? And I'm like, I've heard that phrase before. What is the hook? How about we put them in bikinis? He goes, well, that's not enough. I said, well, what if we did the, gratuitous car wash shot with the dripping foam and slow motion and all that kind of stuff, kind of pandering to the audience. I love it. Let's do it. All right. So now I need to go buy a better camera and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing that for a while, and we did a couple seasons of that, and I was learning my editing. And if you go back and watch it, somebody took all those videos, which were all taken down when Next New Networks evaporated, and they repost them, so the resolution is pretty low. But this one, you can use any kind of music you want. You wanted Prodigy in your video, you can do anything, because the algorithms in YouTube had not been worked out yet. We're talking 2008-ish, right? If you look at the cars, you can tell what about the time period we were doing. Once that was all done, Em calls me up about a year, 2 years later. He says, hey, Craig, we got a meeting with Playboy. I said, for what? He said, well, they want us to do a show, so bring your ideas. I said, okay. So we go over there to 2706 Media Center Drive, LA, over there, kind of near Dodger Stadium, Glendale, Highway 2 and all. And we met with this guy named Dan. I forget his last name. Wonderful, wonderful guy. I don't know what I expected from Playboy, but I figured it was a bunch of hippies, Ron Jeremy kind of looking dude. Nothing like that. Totally professional crew. He says, well, what are you going to do? I said, I have this idea about doing something with girls, right, and action sports, but not in a typical misogynistic way. Well, I want to do it empowering these women, so anything men can do, women can do better. And Dan was like, okay, this is great. So what kind of skits you're going to do? You're going to do one skit for every episode, and there's 4 skits per episode, and we're breaking up with 4 producers. I said, okay, this sounds great. Well, how about girls shooting machine guns? Well, that would be good. Like, we go out to a fire range and we shoot, and the guys are having difficulty shooting everything, and maybe they're learning, and the girls are out there, and they're killing it. And then we're driving exotic cars and jet skis, wrestling alligators, all that kind of stuff. All good stuff. He says, okay, we're going to start interviewing girls next week, so come on up. So I come up to the place where they have the same building, the 2706 Media Center Drive, and they start parading girls in, okay? Now, I thought we were just going to interview them on camera. Just, do some lines, that kind of stuff. And they start walking out, and they're naked. Butt naked. They've got a whiteboard. It's a piece of paper, and they're going to read the line off. So I'm sitting there in a director's chair. Now, it's all on the up and up. There's a guy here who sits next to me and a girl here. So it's all on the up. There's nothing shady about it, okay, which is great. And so the first hour, I'm just kind of looking. Now, I've seen a naked woman before, or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. But for the first hour, I'm like, wow, these things come in different sizes and shapes. Just completely fascinated with what's going on. And 4 hours into this, I call my wife. My wife knows everything that's going on. I tell her everything. And I call her up. I said, this is just really weird. I don't know how long I can do this. And I call up my buddy, and I said, I don't know if I can stay here for the whole day. He says, well, how many days do you have to do it? I said, there's 4 more days of this. He says, why not? I said, because it's like eating Wagyu beef every day, and then at where you live, the old butcher only carries ground beef, ground chuck. You just can't do it. It's going to give me a distorted sense of reality, and I'm afraid it's going to damage me. He goes, no problem, I'll come up there. So he comes up there and does it for a couple of days, all that kind of thing. So that was kind of fun. And we did a lot of skits. One was the girl shooting machine guns, where one of these girls was on meth that day, apparently. She spun the gun around while, when you're shooting people, filming people who have guns, you never get past the end of the barrel. You always stand over here. So I broke my own rule. I got down in the bush, and she just swung around this loaded shotgun, and the range master popped it up in the air before the gun went off. So you can hear it in the trailer. If you go on and look badass, Playboy's badass, there's the clip of those 3 girls. One of them is CJ Miles, who's now an escort in Las Vegas, I'm told. The other girl, I don't know what happened to her. She was Russian, so I don't know what happened to her. But the gun went off up in the air, and it's like, I could have died that day. And I just visioned, my friend said to me, if you died, your tombstone would read, died on the set of Playboy. And all your friends would have said, yep, I can believe that. Anyway, so we did this other one out in Port Hueneme. I wanted to do not hang gliders, but ultralights. It's basically, everybody should know, it's a hang glider with an engine. So we had this Latino guy who was hysterical. Now, he was friends with the commander of the base at Port Hueneme, which is an active naval base. So he puts the girls up there, they're tandem, the girl in the front and the guy in the back. So he comes and requests a flyby of the tower like he's Maverick or something. And so he tells the guys, come out on the balcony, you're going to want to see this. And as he comes over an ultralight, I don't know how fast they go, maybe 70, 80 miles an hour. But in cruise, they're doing probably 35, 40 miles an hour, something like that. So as he comes by, this butt-naked girl is sitting in the front of this ultralighter, and he kicks the rudder and gives him a full frontal view, and the guys are going, ah! He gets a phone call from somebody from the Navy. Was that you? Oh, that was a good show. That was a lot of fun. Oh yeah, we did Lamborghini versus Ferrari. We did a segment out in Las Vegas where the girls were driving a Ferrari butt naked, and the cops pulled them over. So we had fake cops and an undercover Cadillac Escalade. Problem was, highway patrol showed up. It's like, what's going on out here? And we had 2 girls naked on the side of the road in handcuffs. He wasn't all upset about that. He was like, what do? Do you guys have a filming permit? Didn't even ask the question. It's like Las Vegas, anything goes. So that was a good thing. Unfortunately, it only went for 2 seasons, and then Playboy sold out their assets and so forth. That was the beginning of the end for the Hugh Hefner empire, and of course he sold it and sold the mansion later on and that kind of thing. But I don't put that on a resume, although I do tell the story every so often. Good times, I have a great life.
If you get a speeding ticket or other traffic citation, don't just pay it. It can involve costly insurance premium increases, points on your license, possible suspensions, and a lot of other inconveniences. And when you fight it, you want the right people on your side. That means finding a local lawyer to wherever you got the ticket. Even if it's in your backyard or on a road trip or wherever, off the record is the best way to find the best attorney. They pair you with a local attorney wherever you get the ticket to fight for you and achieve the best outcome. In most cases, you won't even have to appear. So be sure to check them out at the link in the description below and download their free app. You just take a picture of your ticket and they handle the rest. So be sure to check them out and thank them for their support of VINwiki.